Okay, let's look at some simple boxing covers. So, from a traditional boxing guard, just to make it easy for people, fundamentals of guard is your stance is also an all-round guard to some degree. First principle of the guard is the chin needs to be down. If you do something with your hands and your chin's in the air, you're getting knocked out. So first principle of the guard is duck that chin. Second principle of defense is be on balance. If you're too high, if you're too low, if your body is out of sorts, again, anything you do with your hands is irrelevant. You're going to get hurt. So chin down, be on balance, elbows in, shoulders relaxed, but you want some degree of tension in there. You don't want to be too loose. So some degree of dynamic tension in the shoulders, chin being down, being on balance, taking some of that slack out of your knees. So simple defenses. We've got simple parries in which we are knocking the incoming strikes to either side, and ideally we're hitting to the outside of the opponent's arm, so this area here. Now the wrist is a really good area to parry to. Hit too soon on the glove and you might be in danger of missing that parry. Hit too high on the arm and no matter what you do, the punch might get through. The cuff of the glove is a sweet spot. So simple parries up top. Simple single covers. These are best deployed against hooks, or if there's a bit of a turn in your body against a straight, but predominantly these against hooks. And again, these should be tight. You should make sure that you get the padding of the glove, the back padding of the glove, over where you feel the strike is coming in. If you start to get a feel that it's a low shot or a high shot, boom, boom, single parries, single covers. Your double cover is something you very rarely want to do. You don't want to spend too much time in double cover. If you're being overwhelmed by a big flurry, that might be a short-term defense. Again, raise the padded area of the gloves relatively high. You want to use the hard, bony bits of your arm. Boom! Take those shots. Notice you always give yourself a window to see from, but you've got to fire back soon, because whilst it looks robust from the front, from the side, there's a big window. And many people have suffered the fate of covering up, eating a big hook around the side. It's something I like to do. So again, like I said, chin down, knees bent, shoulders in athletic posture. These are things that will help you if your hands fail you. So simple high parries, simple single guards, double guards. And again, I like to step into this. I don't passively, if your body weight is leaning back and you're covering, you're going to get overwhelmed. Boom! You've got to be aggressive with this, in my opinion at least. No point being passive. Get low, dive in, and then start firing back as soon as you can. Then you've got wedge blocks. So these use the hard outside part of the forearm, and these wedge up top. Now these can intercept hooks and straights if you angle it right. But again, chin down, other hand is ready. If it's not here, boom, bang, it needs to be en route. So if it's being passive, it needs to be somewhere you can defend, either here or here. If you're being active, you'll wedge block and fire really quickly. Boom, boom, almost like a 1-2 cadence. So you've got simple parries, single covers, double covers, wedge blocks. You've got elbow parries or elbow covers. And this is typically where we turn our torso and use our elbow to either A, deflect the path of the strike, but bear in mind, don't overdo it because you open a window up top. So just very short, sharp little digs on these. Short, sharp redirections. If you want to go old school, this thing's known as barring. Barring is where the arm and the hand is put in the place of where the shot's going to go. So it hits the arm, hand, glove, as opposed to the target, typically the solar plexus, liver or spleen. Boom, boom, and you take the shot on here. It's got risk, it's got danger, but sometimes it comes out. So simple parries, single covers, double covers, wedge blocks, elbow parries. These are some of your most common hand defenses. Then you've got to combine that with your footwork, either advancing and covering, You might be retreating and parrying, so your best thing to do is layered defense. Do what you're going to do with your hands, and there's so many more, but that's just a little bit of a primer. But chin down, shoulders up, be on balance is a fundamental to boxing defense. Knowing what to do with your hands and having a plan to do after you've foiled that shot so you can fire back with confidence is your second layer. And your third layer is how you're moving your legs, how you're moving your feet, how you're using that to evade the shot entirely to be able to fire back. And that's why footwork's so important, because unlike a hand defense, which ties up a hand that cannot strike, if I'm parrying, I can't really strike with that hand at the same time. I can do so quickly, but really it takes that hand a little bit out of the game. If I sidestep, or if I slip, so if I do an upper body evasion, or if I do a stepping evasion, I've got two hands to fire back. And so that's why footwork-based defenses and movement-style defenses are some of the most effective, because they allow you to fire back with both hands, but take the longest to acquire, and those skills diminish the fastest because they're a fine motor skill that requires lots and lots of maintenance. But having robust knowledge of the types of defenses you want to do, let alone things like my favourite, if you're a Philly guard connoisseur, like so, shoulder rolls, putting the shoulder in the way. This is an example of barring. I've barred my mark, my solar plexus, my liver spleen, boom. So I've got shoulder in the way. And again, there's no point in me staying like this. This takes the shot and I need to fire back. I can't remain in any one defense for more than 1 to 2 punches, because humans are clever monkeys and they'll figure a way around it. And another one of my more advanced favored ones is a cross arm guard, like so, and like so. People vary, and that essentially parallels my forearms. So I've got 2 bars essentially, and that covers me pretty well from hooks and from straights. So you've got Philly shell style guards. Again, sometimes people project that elbow, sometimes people make it more shoulder orientated, or cross arm functions, which for me are great for aggressive forward moving fighters. Boom! But like I said, and to recap and to be a broken record, learn a rich array of hand defenses. Make sure you don't forget the fundamental of chin down, being on balance, some tension in the shoulders, and don't forget your feet are just as, if not more important, in you evading and you being on balance, ready to fire back or absorb the power of those shots. So there's a little primer on some boxing defenses.